Father, we thank you for just another day in Canyon, Texas. We thank you for the weather. We thank you for the rain. Father, we feel blessed that you have chosen us to live in this community. Father, we ask that you will bless our first responders, bless the police, protect our fire, God, protect all of our first responders. Father, I also ask that you protect our citizens, and Father, that you will help us as we make decisions today. Give us wisdom. Father, we ask these things in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. That had us at the item number 4, approval of the minutes of the meeting of May 10th.
So no changes. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion and second to approve the minutes as written. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. With that, before we do our public comment period, Joe, I think you have some folks that you'd like to introduce to us today.
Yep. Gretchen?
Oh, okay. Well, I am very proud to announce we have a new HR director. He's amazing. Hector Mendoza comes to us from Maxor and previously City of Amarillo in public health, and very knowledgeable, and he's made a great addition to the team. We're very excited to have him with us. And then Anisha Patel is our intern. She is attending Duke University and is interning with us to gain some knowledge. And what is your degree? I'm sorry.
Public policy and environmental science.
She's a lot of fun to work with. They both are. It's a great, bright addition to our office up here. I just want to welcome them both and thank them for being here.
They were taking some pictures of some bad golf on Friday here. So.
You were pretty good.
Yeah. They're going to take my picture there on what, hole 10 and all, and I just flat worm burn one. It did make it all close to the green, but it was really ugly.
Oh, you know, the chamber has requested that photo, actually. I got an email from them asking for that photo there. So, welcome, y'all.
All right, takes us to item number 5, public comment. Comments from interested citizens.
Nobody has signed in.
All right. Item number 6, consider and take appropriate action on update of Governor Greg Abbott's executive orders directed at slowing the spread of COVID-19 in the state of Texas. Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Numbers are still low right now at this time. The governor did issue a proclamation, I think, yesterday, talking about COVID-19 still being a detrimental outbreak. So I know that went out. Other than that, things are slowly starting to ramp back up. You know, events are going on. We've continued to move forward as we get everything back to what we used to know as normal at this point. But thankfully, numbers are down, I think, in the 20s and low 30s at the most. It has been the last 2 to 3 weeks.
It was 19 last week and it's 21
today. So
active cases.
more than likely, we haven't had a chance, but we're probably going to slowly start regressing down on some of the publications for COVID-19 at this point in time. So, but other than that, Mr. Mayor, John, anything to add?
No, the fire department's going to be giving some shots here tomorrow to some folks that were participating in the Meals on Wheels program that wanted to get a shot at home, and they've set up a program to do that. So thank you, Dennis, for running with that. That'll be great.
I think that's all about, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, great. And as Joe was saying, just throwing out, I think it is important we still get the message out on vaccines and you know, our PIO getting that message out. As taking time for this update in the future, we probably won't list, Joe. There's just some big news out there at the end, so I think that's important.
Yeah, I think things are just heading downward, thankfully. And, I don't think it's necessary as they used to be.
Okay.
So, but other than that, Mr. Mayor, John, anything to add?
No, the fire department's going to be giving some shots here tomorrow to some folks that were participating in the Meals on Wheels program that wanted to get a shot at home, and they've set up a program to do that. So thank you, Dennis, for running with that.
I think that's all about, Mr. Mayor.
All right, good deal. Then item number 7 is the presentation of the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award from the Government Finance Officers Association. Joe?
Can you pull that up, Gretchen? This award is the highest budget award that a government entity can receive. And so it's not a touch screen.
Oh. Go home.
Sorry, Gretchen's operating my laptop. City staff this last year, the directors, supervisors, anybody involved in the budget process went through a lot of growth and evolution in trying to bring our budget into industry standards. The commission involved as well went through a lot of that. I'm sure y'all remember that. Our budget, expanded significantly. Ultimately, what people need to be able to understand is when average Joe citizen goes to pull the budget up online, which is on our homepage, if they're able to read it with ease and understanding. And so the GFOA really goes into that with a lot of depth. But this is the first time the city of Canyon has ever received such an accolade. And so y'all probably have seen the letter in here. This was a group effort, commission all the way down. And so we put a lot of time into getting to these standards. There's a bunch of different items that are required to be in the budget, table of contents, obviously dollar amounts, having the graphics, economy, all sorts of things, long-term financial planning. There's a lot of items that are mandatory, and then there's some that are not mandatory. Joel and I have really worked more than anybody together on trying to get that. We're trying to also do that coming into this year. We didn't get everything we wanted last year, and so we continue to evolve and get better every year. But we were able to get all the mandatory items last year, and we just received this on May 4th or 6th, this coveted award. And so I wanted to present this to you guys. This budget award will go into the cover page, the second or third page in our budget year. But this is a very big accomplishment for our organization and our community and the finance department. That letter details how much the finance department went through on this. Keep going, Gretchen. And so I think they'll be sending us a plaque for this.
Where do you want me to go?
Keep going, next page. Here's the GFOA award right there. So that'll go into the budget, Distinguished Budget Award. The great thing that we had on this award, there's 3 independent reviewers. Most of those are financial industry people. Those could be anywhere from all over the United States, from ISDs to water districts. So most of these are government entities, and they you don't know who it is, and they review all the categories to see if you're proficient or not proficient. Keep going, Gretchen. And so this down the other way, I've got the wrong page. And it shows us where we excelled and where we didn't. I will give a big shout out. There was high marks on the objectives and goals that the city departments put in. That was the biggest thing that stood out in this, is the goals and milestones that each department put in there exceeded the expectations of the scoring criteria, and that was noted on every individual scorer that did this. So that's a huge shout out to our department directors, our assistant directors, our supervisors that took part in the budget process. And so we got high marks on that, showing that we're going after these objectives and goals. This is where our city's moving. This is where our department's moving. But I want a big shout out to those departments and all those that were involved in that. They put a lot of time and effort in those this last year, trying to get those done. So, but you can see you've got the middles, where all the check marks are the good stuff is where we need to be. One of the things you can see on the far left, we got 3 of those. That's the long-range financial plans. It's not a mandatory one. Joel and I have had many conversations that we need to get better. That's 10 years. That's a 10-year financial plan. Well, if you look at the volatility, it's hard to plan sales tax out for 10 years, no matter who you are. And so there's certain revenue streams you're going to have to really look at. Property tax is a little different. You can get that, but that's also expenses too. So Joel and I know that's going to be a large item, and you can clearly see because it's not a mandatory one. But that's one Joel and I have had a lot more recent conversations to really try to bolster and get better at. We're looking at other cities and what they do and seeing if we can come to what we think is going to be the best moving forward for the next 10 years of long-term financial planning. But keep on going, Gretchen. So I would really highly recommend you take some time to take a look at these and see these. I know there's quite a bit of information here, but they took the time to comment on these and give us some reflective feedback. But Joel, would you like to add anything?
Just to say that capital improvement plan, CIP, that will be a significant component to that long-term financial plan. So as we get that in place and beginning to budget for the activity of that, that's going to contribute toward us being able to say we're accommodating that requirement in this budget.
The second, to add to that, what Gretchen and I talked about the other day, is the strategic plan is also a mandatory one. We have a very short one right now from 2016, 2017, and so John has been working to try to get that scheduled to do a strategic plan. That is also a mandatory requirement in there. That just shows planning and vision from the city commission's budget stance. So that's also a mandatory requirement. Gretchen, do you have anything to add? I know you looked at it as well.
I know you really put a lot of time, and Joel, everybody did, but you two really need a lot of kudos because we're talking lots of late nights. Going by the emails I was getting that.
This is a one-year award, so we have to continue to do it every year. So I hope this is the first of many years we continue to do this, but this is the highest honor our budget could ever receive. Does anybody have any questions?
John?
Great team effort, you guys. From commission all the way to the staff. This is, like what Gretchen just said, is truly a full group effort with the commission and staff together. Like I said, we live and breathe this budget every day. Every department does. And so it's probably one of the most important things that we do. And we've done a great job together. Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Well, congratulations to you and department heads, and the fact you for having the vision to take us this direction. So,
Thank you, Gary.
all right, item number 8 is update on the outdoor warning sirens improvement project. Chief Quinn.
Good afternoon. Just to provide you a quick update in reference to the outdoor warning siren system. We have chosen the final locations for the sirens. One will be 4th Avenue near Hicks. It is an existing location. We're installing a new pole and equipment. The WTA new classroom center up on top of the roof, that is an existing location that we'll be replacing. 2500 block of 17th Avenue. This is going to be just east of the tennis courts at the Canyon High School. It'll be on Canyon ISD property. 300 block of 1st Avenue, which is at the City Street Barn. That'll be a new location, and the Spring Canyon Elementary School will be a new location. These new sirens, as you're probably well aware, cover a larger area than the old ones did, so it'll take fewer sirens to cover the area that we need to cover. Our final quote has been received for the 5 warning sirens, the poles, and all associated equipment, and the final quote is $120,776.96. We've also received a quote for installation from A&J Electric in Amarillo for $45,000. It's my suggestion that we do allow A&J to do this because of their experience and expertise in installing these systems. They do the same work for the city of Amarillo, so they're very equipped with the installation and the logistics.
And they're local.
In doing that, and they are a local company. So with the above mentioned quotes, we're looking at $165,776.96. I believe we'll get some partial reimbursement from WTAU.
Yep, WT has agreed to do up to $7,500.
Up to $7,500. So you can see we're still slightly over the $150,000 that the commission authorized. I believe that's coming out of cash reserves.
Correct.
To do this system. So we're just kind of in a holding pattern on the ordering until if that's approved or not. And once it is ordered, we're looking at 6 to 8 weeks for the sirens and equipment to get here, and 10 to 12 weeks for the poles to be delivered. So we are looking at an August into September start on this, but definitely it will be installed in time for storm season next year.
It's pretty close to what we quoted you guys. Any issues of that, going over a little bit, we're probably over about $10,000. Anybody have any issues or concerns with that? Speak now, forever holster fees. Okay, sounds good, Dennis.
I'll get it on
Go ahead and
tomorrow.
approve it.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Great job to Dennis and our team for doing that. They've done a lot of site visits on that to make sure it works really well. I've personally gone out on the classroom center, on the top of the classroom center, so that was kind of fun. But great job on these guys. Them and OEM,
Yes.
Amarillo OEM has also been a big help on this project to help get it off the ground. So it's been quite a bit of behind the scenes work on this to get it off the ground. So.
Well, I'm excited to get there, and I think last big storm that you all had folks out on site ready to
Yes.
sound the alarms and all too. So,
We do have our backup plan in place.
okay. All right, next item, consider to take appropriate action on resolution number 30-2021, a resolution by the City Commission of the City of Canyon, Texas, supporting the development and implementation of a community wildfire protection plan in accordance with the Healthy Forest Restoration Act, providing an effective date. Chief Quinn.
For the last 2-3 years, the Canyon Fire Department has been identifying some areas around town that are concerned for us for encroaching wildfires, and we've have done some mitigation work in those areas. However, that needs to continue. And continuing this project, we have started working with the Texas A&M Forest Service, which I'll introduce our visitors here in just a second. But in order for us to go the next step, and for the Forest Service working with us, the resolution and a memorandum of understanding is in line for us to continue to collaborate on this project together. Community Wildfire Protection Plan basically is what we've been doing, identifying areas that we have concerns about encroaching wildfires, identifying what type of mitigation efforts we need to do there, whether it's mechanical thinning, burning, and one of our members from the Forest Service will talk about that a little bit more. So at this time, I'll introduce, have Ashley Johnson, she's our Regional Fire Coordinator. Jason Calvette, he's our Task Force Coordinator. And Stephen Moore, he's our Branch Fire Coordinator. And Stephen's going to come up and give you a little bit more on the CWPP.
Stephen Moore, Branch Fire Coordinator. Thank you for the opportunity to come speak with you guys today. So we're really excited about the opportunity to assist with the Community Wildfire Protection Plan with the City of Canyon. So as everybody is here should be aware that the Panhandle in Texas has a wildfire problem. So typically it's called the Southern Plains Wildfire Outbreak Day. These are real common in the winter because of the cured grasses across the Panhandle, and then the alignment of the weather patterns of cold fronts that come out of the northern states that bring high winds and low relative humidities. That leads to a fire issue. So through the implementation of a community wildfire protection plan that will allow us to assist the city in preparation through mitigation, as Chief was mentioning, whether prescribed burning, fuels reduction with chainsaw work or mulching, and then of course just general community preparedness. And that's a holistic approach. So the Texas A&M Forest Service is committing to continuing to work with the City of Canyon for years into the future in support of the CWPP. So it's not just a one and done with our commitment to the city. And so with that, again, holistic with the agency, that's our fire staff, that's support from our biologists working with city parks, so healthy trees is a big portion of that. And then of course our prevention specialist as well, which is spreading the word for fire prevention. How can we reduce starts across the community? So again, holistic approach that goes with that, and we're here to support not just the fire department, but the city and all of its subsidiaries that go in that through the CWPP continuing forward. So really excited about that opportunity, and glad that we're here today to support you guys. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Steve. All right. I think we do need a motion to adopt the resolution.
I make a motion we adopt resolution 30/2021 to support the development of a community wildfire protection plan for the city of Kansas.
Have a motion second. All in favor of resolution number 30-2021, signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. The motion passes. All right, that takes us to item number 10, to consider and take appropriate action on bids received for City of Canyon Internet Service Provider contract.
Hey guys. So our contract's up to AT&T for internet service. I think y'all all got a printout of what we're currently paying.
I'm printing some downstairs.
We can get those to you. But basically for cable services, we're paying about $430 a month. For internet here, and all the buildings the city owns, we're paying about $2,796 a month. And phones, so copper phone lines, AT&T they're raising their price every month about 15-20%. And I believe in 2 to 3 months, they're not going to support it at all. So we have to find a solution to replace that. And we do have some wireless stuff in place that will pick up some of that load. But the problems we're running into is reliability issues with wireless. So the information that's going over those wireless links is a lot of utility stuff, you know, monitoring the lift stations and pump stations, and we just can't have that stuff going down, you know, during heavy rainfall to have to go out and run that stuff manually. So what I did was I put out a request for bidders looking for 2 quotes. One for a metro area network, something to connect all of these sites back here to the data center with a fiber connection. And then one for internet service. So my idea is we'll have all the city facilities, server traffic, internet traffic coming here, then going out one internet connection, making it easier for me to monitor and maintain and secure that traffic. Does that make sense to everybody? Do you have any questions with that part? So the next thing, so this one is what we're currently paying for every month. Total of about $12,139. At the bottom, citywide under phone, that's the copper that I'm telling you that they're raising our price every single month, trying to get us off of it. So regardless if we make a decision here today on an internet service provider or a metro area network provider, I mean that's going to go away no matter what. We'll just have to use wireless, you know, connections that are unreliable. Whatever we decide to do, that's going to go away no matter what. The quotes that we received 3 quotes for Pathways, Vexus, and they're here today, and AT&T. We'll just start at the top. Pathways, they give us 3 options. The first one is to take construction up front at $25,806, and then a monthly charge of $4,791. And this is for the metro connections. This is what's going to connect all of our city facilities.
Can you tell us what those are?
Yes.
Yeah, those are, yeah.
So we're looking at City Hall being the hub. Everything will connect here to us, and we're going to connect the water park, the parks department, so Brian's office and everything in the parks department, the golf course, the IT department, and that's going to include the water department and street department in that. Our downtown tower, and that's a main hub for all of the wireless traffic coming back in, so that's an important one. East Tower, North Tower, and Kim Road. And Kim Road is going to be our disaster recovery site. So all of the city's files are going to be replicated to Kim Road in case we lose the data center downstairs. We can just bring it up you know, we can just click a button, bring it up, and still be able to access our resources that way. And that's going to be a new internet connection. Currently, we only have the one here at, well, for our servers, we just have the one here in the basement. So we're going to add that as our DR, disaster recovery policy. So back to the bids we received. So bid one was upfront cost and the $4,791 monthly. Their second option was to take that construction cost and let us pay it out over 3 years. So there would be no upfront cost. It would be $5,497 monthly. And then they also give us a third option, and that's to get an feasible rights of use on their fiber at an upfront payment of $139 one-time payment, and then a $1,664 payment monthly for upkeep and maintenance. If it breaks, if it degrades, I mean, they guarantee that fiber for 10 years. We pay that monthly charge, and it's ours. So we light it. So from our data center, we're going to plug that fiber directly into our switch, and then at the tower, we're going to plug the other end into our equipment. So it's end-to-end ours, and nobody else can use it. And they also extended that for another 10 years. They guarantee in 10 years, if we still want it, they'll keep it the same price for another 10 years if we still want it. And it's a contract, you know, that we can, you know, the contract's more on our side. We're guaranteed that price. You know, if we decide tomorrow we don't want it, you know, we're not going to get our $139,000 back, but we can get out of that monthly maintenance. Any questions on the quotes we received from Pathways for the metro part of the network? Moving on is to their internet. We got a bid to replace the internet circuit here at City Hall, and adding a new circuit out at Kim Road for a disaster recovery plan, and that came in at $1,990 a month. And here are the three totals for Pathways if we choose their internet and their metro area network connections. Any questions on that? Next bid we received from Vexus. And we got one option from them, and they're going to provide all 9 connections with no maintenance or no construction costs at $4,410 a month with a 3-year term. And their internet is $1,130 for both sides for a 3-year term. I think the main difference worth noting here between Pathways and Vexus on the metro area network is with Pathways we'll have that point to point. There's nothing in the middle. You know, we plug in our switch at both sides to light it up. With Vexus, we are going to be going over their network with residents, you know, everybody that's on it. And I'm sure they'll guarantee us, you know, with bandwidth and latency, you know, we're going to get, you know, what we're paying for. But that's something to keep in mind. You know, nobody else can use the fiber from Pathways versus Vexus. Any questions on the Vexus quotes? The next one is AT&T.
Vexus Internet, you forgot that one.
No, I went over that. Yes, $1,130. And there's a grand total. That's what we'll be paying a month with Vexus if we choose their internet and their metro area network. And they're here. I mean, do I give them they want to say something, or do I just keep going?
Just keep going.
Okay.
We'll allow them to speak at the end.
Okay. AT&T is the third bid we received. We're currently out of contract with AT&T. They kind of priced themselves out, you know, as you can see on here, and they also didn't follow the instructions on the application. They're extremely high. So, y'all want me to talk, you know, about that at all? AT&T? Okay. If there's no questions, then my recommendation is that we award the metro area network contract to Pathways in the amount of $139,000 with a monthly maintenance payment of $1,664 for 10 years, and award the internet contract of Access in the amount of $1,130 a month for a period of 3 years.
So like,
Is there any disadvantage to the new company?
This is going to work on either one, on Vexus and if we lease the fiber ourselves, it's going to work just fine on either one. You know, they both are going to give us an SLA. You know, so you know, I said before we'll be sharing, but they'll be able to guarantee that bandwidth. You know, the speeds are going to be fine, everything's going to be fine. The advantage of doing this, you know, as you can see, you know, we did a 10-year analysis on it, and you know, there's a pretty big difference in that payment. You know, leasing it ourselves.
Do you have that on you? We don't have that on here, Sean.
What does that calculate?
Joel, do you have it?
Got it. You want me to copy this for everybody, or?
I can.
I have another one.
So we did a comparison, we did a 10-year projection because of the 10-year infrastructure cost. We did that with Pathways. We paid $139,000 up front on that. And say we kept the same internet service fee for that 10-year period. We projected that out, that would be $577,480 for the whole 10 years. That's going total package with Pathways. If we went total package with Vexus, that would be $664,840. So that's quite a difference.
Sean, can I see your copy?
Yes, sir.
With Sean's proposal that we do the infrastructure with Pathways and do the internet service with Nexus, that would run $474,280 over the 10 years. So that would be our best price to be able to do a combination of those two.
Doesn't really matter, but are they local? Is Vexus local?
Both are local.
Both of them are?
Yeah, Vexus is, I mean, they're doing a bunch for our community right now. You know, they're providing, you know, an alternate internet connection to Suddenlink for our residents. So I mean, they're here and they're working. You know, Pathways, they're here at local businesses. Pathways right now, I think one of their big ones is Canyon ISD. I did reach out to Canyon ISD and spoke to the IT director, and there was no complaints there. There's high praise for Pathways as well.
Joel, can I see your spreadsheet? Look, Commissioner Joel.
So on the dark cable, they keep it all up, you can check, even though we paid for it there.
Yes, that's going to be the monthly fee. They're going to keep it up and run.
Maintenance, typical service maintenance agreement period.
That's good for 10 years, and they also said that if we want to renew that at 10 more years, they would do that. And it's hard to see, you know, where we're going to be in 10 years. But with the point-to-point solution, you know, with the dark fiber, leasing that fiber, you know, we're lighting it up, so our equipment is going to, you know, drive it. So if we want to light it up at 10 gigs, you know, on each side, we can do that. You know, if we just need 1 gig, we can do that as well.
What are we at now, Sean?
About 300 meg on a sunny day.
We just upgraded that.
No, that's for our point-to-point connections. Yeah, for our radios and stuff. That's
Anybody want to see the spreadsheet again?
Are people happy with Vexus? Okay. Cody, have you heard anything on Vexus?
I don't know if it's there.
I think it is.
Yes, sir.
We'll give them an opportunity to speak.
Oh, yes. Would y'all like?
If y'all want to, if you want.
Yeah, if you don't mind, it'd be
Yeah,
fantastic.
absolutely.
My name is Steve Brown. I oversee the commercial side of the business for Vexus in Texas. We're delighted to actually be, what we think is going to be a really big part of the community as we grow forward. As a company, we've made the conscious decision to invest north of $40 million in the community here to build out our fiber infrastructure and give the good people of Canyon the technology advantage and frankly the service and quality of network that they deserve. As we worked with Sean to put this network together, one of the commitments we made to him was that we would take the infrastructure, build it, and make sure that it wasn't a financial liability to the city. We talked about bringing fiber to all the 10 facilities that Sean outlined. We actually put together what we felt like was a pretty elegant and resilient network from a pure data standpoint. So there is some sort of catastrophic event that does take place in West Texas, the network is protected and as bulletproof as it can possibly be given the circumstances. The network we put forward is not a dark fiber network like I believe gives not just Sean and his team the ability to manage and monitor the network, but it's also another set of eyes because it's monitored 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by our network operating center, which is in Lubbock. A key component that we look at as we put this thing together was being able to give you guys the scalability and the growth opportunities, but probably more so, and one of the most important things is security with all the crazy turmoil it seems like our world is in today with the hacking and things along those lines. A big piece of when you look at something that's resilient, redundant, it doesn't sit in a point-to-point environment. It goes in a ring topology. And one of the things we committed to Sean on is that we would build this thing out at no cost to the city as far as a capital standpoint, and we kind of rolled that all into a single solution, so that from your standpoint as the council and residents of the city, you're not going to feel any sort of tax burden or financial burden as it relates to the citizens. Vexus is certainly delighted to be building out not just on behalf of the business community, but also the residents of the city. So we certainly we pride ourselves in being community builders, and we are willing to really do what we need to do to help you guys go to the next level from a technological standpoint. And I don't know if this is the proper forum, but if the difference in providing you guys with a world-class infrastructure from a network standpoint is extending terms and helping reduce the long-term cost of it, we're certainly open and willing to do that. We're a very nimble company. So there's a variety of things we could do if the group felt like the elegant network that was put together by our engineering team is a more viable solution. We're certainly willing to do what we have to do to make the economics work. Thank you. Any questions I can answer for you guys, whether it's on what we put together or on what Vexus is doing as a whole for the community?
Thank you.
Question for me?
You don't foresee getting any more bids from anyone else?
Now it's closed.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the contract with Pathways providing metro area network and Vexus providing internet.
We need that to be a little more refined of option 3 of dark fiber. Commissioner Ray, to make sure, because there's 3 options with Pathways. I assume that's what you're.
So Pathways, is it option 2? Is that the one?
3 is the dark fiber. That's the 139,000.
Okay.
That's if we're looking at that one, and then if you're looking at what Sean's recommendation is, it's that one, option 3, Pathways, MAN, and then doing internet 3-year deal with Vexus on that is what the combination is. That's the most economical that Sean and Joel have put together. Is that correct, gentlemen? Is that what you're recommending?
Yeah.
I'll figure out the motion.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and second, and just make sure we're all on the same page. So, the motion is for option number 3, the dark fiber option, for $139,000 plus the monthly on the commercial, and then the internet, and that is with Pathways, the internet with Vexus, and that will be for the $1,130 per month.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, that is Commissioner Ray's motion.
That's good.
That is my motion.
Okay. All right, any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, signify by saying no. The motion passes.
Thank you, guys.
It was a curveball for myself. Okay. Now, thank you, Sean. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That now takes us to item number 11. Consider and take appropriate action on resolution number 27-2021, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Canyon, Texas, awarding the depository services contract to Happy State Bank and authorizing the city manager to execute and negotiate the agreements necessary for the depository services contract. Bill?
Mayor, Commission, in accordance with Chapter 105 of the Texas Local Government Code, we're required to solicit bids for the depository contract with the city for banking services. This has to be done at least every 5 years. It's a 2-year contract with 3 optional 1-year extensions, so it can be from 2 to 5 years. So we've used up all of our 5 years on and that will run out actually August 31 of this year, 2020. So we started this process back in January. We hired Valley View Consulting to work with us on going through this process and be sure that we did it correctly. In February, we mailed out or emailed invitations to all of the eligible banks to respond to this request for application. And we also advertised in the Canyon News. On February 25th, we hosted a pre-application conference by Zoom, giving the banks opportunity to get on with us and ask questions and obtain information for preparing their RFAs. And then in March 25th was the deadline for the receipt of applications from the banks. Throughout that process, we actually only received 1 application, and that was from our existing bank, Happy State Bank. And we did review that along with Valley View Consulting, and they reviewed that application to be sure that it was advantageous to the city of Canyon to continue on with that. Just briefly, as far as changes go, no significant changes. Happy State Bank doesn't charge us service charges. We did work through some interest rate improvements. Interest rates are extremely low right now, but we talked with Greg, and Greg was able to assure us a floor of 0.25% on the checking accounts for interest, but that could increase. It's actually the 13-week T-bill rate plus 0.25 just happens to be super low right now. Also, as far as services go, in the process of going through this, we found out we haven't been taking advantage of a security option with the bank. It's called Positive Pay. It's basically where you send the bank a list of the checks that you're issuing, and they won't allow payment on any check that's presented unless it's in that list. It's all done electronically. But we've gotten with our software provider, Encode, and we've gotten that process going, and we're using that. That's a good internal control procedure to have in place. So that's another benefit of going through this procedure. We do have Greg Howard here with us today. If you have any questions for him, if you'd like to say anything.
I'll be glad to take questions, but yeah, that's why I'm here, is one, to thank the city for banking with us for the last 20 years, as long as I've been at the bank. And so we also enjoyed the working relationship we have with Joel and his group, so we hope to continue doing this. Now, since we were the only bidder, I figured we would probably win the bid, but I wanted to be here just to personally say thank you. But love to also answer any questions. Which, by the way, the Treasury plus 25, that is actually typically much higher. That's our 1-year CD rate. So you're actually getting on your checking accounts our 1-year CD rate.
That's what I was gonna say, they get 0.25
Because even the Fed Fund target rate is only 25.
We appreciate you making that concession.
I wish the rates were higher too, particularly consolation.
So it's our recommendation that the commission approve moving forward with renewing this contract with the state bank.
We'll give a shout out to Valley View for doing a great job.
Yeah.
Working with Joel.
Those guys are top notch. I think they're all retired bankers. They know how the process works. They walked me. It's my first time to go through this process, and they're very helpful in walking me through it and keeping me like right on schedule and sending me emails a week ahead if you need to do this, you need to do that. So I really appreciate it. Appreciate y'all being willing to allow us to hire them to do that. That's a very helpful service.
Are we that difficult to work with that nobody else would put in an application?
Well, I think that's the nature of where we're at in our economy right now.
Part of it is a very big order to move assets from one bank to another. If we were to switch, that is a huge order to ask. And sometimes you may get a better rate with another bank, but the logistics of moving your assets over doesn't make it worth it. And so that is a big challenge to do that. So,
Mind if I address that question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Another reason is, and we're finding that in a lot of the depository bids we're doing, we are the only bidder, but we do consider it a community service. So even though, I'll give you an example, our loan to deposit ratio, which usually, when you look at the deposits that the bank has, we usually run about 85% of all those deposits covering our loans. Okay, so 85% loan to deposit ratio. We're at 65% now of our deposits covering our loans. What that means is our loans have increased, but what of our deposits, they've increased much more. So really banks are really flush with deposits right now because of COVID the year and all this money that the Fed's pumping into the economy. And where does that money go? Into the local banks. So really, to be honest, banks just don't need the deposits right now. So that's what's driving a lot of banks not bidding, because why?
One thing we go over frequently in the financial reporting is, our dollar being matched, liquidity while the Happy State matches our dollars.
Yeah. And
For
that,
FDIC.
of course, all that was covered in the requirements for the collateralization of our loans.
Thank you.
Collateralization of our deposits.
Right.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve resolution 27, 2021.
I would ask Mayor to abstain. I'll be the devil on that one.
I have a motion and second to approve resolution number 27-2021. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes with a abstain. Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you for
Thanks,
naming.
Greg.
I've got another meeting to get to.
We were hoping you did.
Yeah. Y'all surely have questions about the internet project, because Henders can surely answer them all for you.
I had a question for you, but it's not appropriate. So.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
No problem. See you guys.
Thanks, Craig.
All right, takes us to item number 12, consider and take appropriate action on resolution number 28-2021, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Canyon, Texas, prescribing real limitations on parking for standing motor vehicles or trailers during a parade to be held July 3rd, 2021 in the City of Canyon. Gretchen?
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution 2821 enacts ordinance 892 that we adopted in May of 2009, and it just controls where nobody's parking along the grade route, and that prevents people from bottlenecking and kids running out. It's a big safety precaution, and we've done this since 2009. So I would just recommend adoption of resolution 28/2021.
So moved.
Prohibiting parking.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. All right, that takes us to item number 13, to consider and take appropriate action on resolution number 29-2021. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Canyon, Texas, exclusive management rights to the Canyon Chamber of Commerce over the downtown square, Connor Park, and public areas in and around these areas during the annual 4th of July celebration, July 3rd, 2020.
Again, this is our annual resolution. It prevents people, well, the chamber takes command of the square, the alleys around the square, the park, and this prevents people from moving in bounce houses or selling their goods where it's all controlled for the 4th of July is set up by the chamber. And we just give them the right to ask people to move or, take things out of the way of what's going on. So I would recommend adoption of resolution 2921.
I move to approve resolution 29-2021.
Second.
Motion and second to approve resolution number 29-2021. Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by raising your right hand. Opposed, like sign. Motion passes. All right. Takes us to item number 14. Consider and take appropriate action. You know what, Chuck, were you going to address item number?
Yes, I am, Mayor. We have some additional work to do on that, so please, the commission, I would like to request that be carried over to a future meeting agenda. We need to communicate with our bond counsel and do some additional work on that to bring it back to the commission. We're not up against any timelines that would cause us problems with our debt issue. We do need to do some additional work on that.
Okay, then we will now retire into exec session pursuant to 551.071, consultation with attorney, and 551.072, deliberations about real property. And I have 527. We will adjourn into exec session.
You're welcome. Gretchen, do you want to congratulations for y'all? How are you?
How many
You need to be in that picture, I'll take it. Give me a picture.
Don't. Absolutely. We're happy to be here. We're very excited about.
Who's phone?
I've been there 11 years. 13.
Do you want to stop right here?
And we do it landscape.
So we're just
kind of
running
these, like, Texas Agri-Life, things like that,
Chief President, do you mind taking a picture? Cody's gotta be in the photograph.
I know the people who typically take pictures of our dead.
Stephen Moore, good to meet you.
You know, thinking about our city manager being from Warner, there was a whole respect that Warner had.
But I don't know that
I think during that time, we thought about some of the higher education, especially on our west, southwest side.
Bring it in. Yep, we just order at the CWCC as well. So we're, really excited about working with
Yeah.
Say it a lot, but we are.
I love you now.
Stephen Moore, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. All right, you guys, come on, let's get a picture.
I was talking about Border, though, had a real threat a few years back.
Yep.
Why is Kenny Meyer not here?
Yeah, it's doing it, do it.
I think both of them need to be in here.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben Terry told you. Come on.
You got a wide angle?
Now be nice. Good, thank you. We're still waiting on the photographer commission. When they get here and come back. Commission, photographer is still on his way. We're going to go ahead and go to executive session if you're okay, and then once he gets here and sets up, we'll get pictures done.
We'll get this thing rolling now. Yep, go in the right direction.
Always good to see you. Yeah, you need anything wrong?
Good to see you. Yes, sir.
Good. I'm sure we'll be making more saws on some trees. Yeah, so they're calling it a pilot program, but it's what we're already doing under a new name. And so if you hear Stand Ready Texas, it's the same thing that we've always done. It's just rebranding of our commitment to work with the community again. Whoever the new James is, or biologist, whoever the new Kevin is, because he's leaving also. So turnover in our office. Well, Kevin's going to that's what he did previously in North Carolina, so he's got back on there. So, but yeah, again, so working with city parks, because I know heavy involvement from the biologists and healthy trees and lives, and then us working with you guys on the fire side. So, but it'll be called Stand Ready Texas. Awesome. So, yep, absolutely. So, and we're here anytime you guys need us. Just ask. So
We're still going to be in the grant.
Get together one more time before you officially.
Get that.
Supposed to know right after that next week.
So, and really July is going to be that month where he's money. So he's back next week. He's at a class this week.
We'll get it rocking. Rocking and rolling.
Absolutely. Yeah, likewise.
Good on the siren side of things?
I think we are. I think I haven't got the information back from
Anything else, let me know.
Okay, I will do.
Have a good evening.
You too. Jake, take care.
What side of the office for?
Oh, no, I know what you're speaking of.
Blackwater Draw, and that's why it's moving.
I'm mad about corrosive. It's a positive tree, it's source water.
Oh, sampling a little bit,
It cost us over 20K sampling since last time. We worked with it. Do you think he could do it?
Well, I've been talking to Mark, let him know that that's the deal with it. I was looking at, we were looking at, protecting the bit, that's low fire hydrant. So you guys mentioned heaters,
we can't put a fire on this, will be fire.
right? So if we get a heater on it, so if you have that fire.
No, we're not, we can land up the same thing.
It's the material, it's the same thing, you got protect the meters and fire hydrant.
Yeah, because these things, I mean, 17, they're gonna expand and they're gonna want.
Material and the EMLD.
Well, look, we put a 4-inch tap on that, but if they decide they go up, we switch that to a 6-inch, 3-inch tap.
Joel, light it off for you already.
Right. I mean, I felt like that. Looking by it, it was easy, you know.
Shots, orifice around that stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on it.
Go, have a good one.
Leaving?
Got the pickup sold.
Okay.
That's the least amount of time and effort I've ever spent in any kind of DMV setting. I walked in and there's one lady sitting there. There's a kiosk. She just points to it, so I get a number. I sit down and the system calls my number.
Oh, wow.
I'm like.
You're thinking.
I just handed her my business card and the application, and she came back, and they didn't take cards, so she paid cash for it. It's like $5 and something cents. And she handed me the title and my business card back. Said thanks.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I knew it was a really simple process.
So.
Because we've had to do it before.
I just went straight to the dealership and signed 2 spots on the title. She once again scanned the business card and put it all in the file and handed us the check, and there went the truck. So. Simple. So.
Nice. You know, James bought that limited brand a year ago, and nobody here would deal with them on it. So he found the exact one he wanted in Waco with the brand box and just black interior. And he called them, said, I want this truck, this is what I'll give, and they go, okay. He said, I have this older Ram, and I want this much for it, and they're like, well, send us pictures, so he sent them pictures inside and out, and they said, yeah, we'll do that. And he said, when do you want it? And he goes, I know, well, we'll send a guy out, he'll leave here at 6 a.m. from Waco. So he got to our house the Friday, we took off. He got there around noon. We drove the truck, looked at it, looked it all over, did everything. James said, I love it. Went in the kitchen table, signed all the papers, gave him the keys to the old one. He gave us the keys to the new one, and
Wow.
it was the easiest transaction ever.
Huh. That's cool.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah, Mama wants a new car, but the price everything is right now is ridiculous.
Well, and there are no cars really. Apparently there's some chip and thing that China makes. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing. Who knows?
That's why I want to play it. I love it. And my Camaro. I just don't drive it.
Yeah. It's been too rainy to get the nice cars out.
So I pulled it in the garage. I got it. Actually, a picture popped up on Facebook the other day. I ordered it 12 years ago last week.
Oh, wow.
Special ordered it. And I parked it in the garage and looked down and it was at 44,000 miles. Exactly. I was like, wow.
12 years, that's some pretty low miles.
I teased James, there'll be a barn and find one.
There you go.
I told him I was going to sell it, and he said, no.
My wife keeps wanting to get rid of stuff, I might just quit.
I'll get down there and make sure that door is unlocked and help you unload. Okay, thank you.